Good afternoon. I'm Dorothy White with Channel 6, and we're here for Community Focus. And we have a special guest with us here today. This is Danielle Hagler, and she is our extension, easy for me to say, extension agent for Nelson County. And I know we've had different projects in the past that we've worked with Extension on, and I know there's lots of things going on. So why don't you kind of tell us and bring us up to date?
Yeah, so in our extension office, we have several different roles.
Okay.
And I'm the cooperative extension agent for 4-H youth development.
Oh,
so
okay.
primarily work with youth programs and work with a lot of volunteers as well.
Okay.
This time of year is a little bit slower, but really in 4-H there's no slow time. We're doing a lot of planning, getting things ready, and kind of rolling out some of our big programs and projects that we have coming throughout the year. Right now, it is raining outside. We're supposed to be getting some snow tonight.
That's what they're saying.
Make sure you go to the grocery and get your milk and bread. Or if you're like me and you have a fairly new kid, she's a year, I discovered, I should probably have extra formula and diapers at the house. So
you can't remember everything.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's a perfect time to start thinking about summer.
Dorothy
and I were talking about what to wear today, and she said she's tired of winter clothes.
I'm tired of them. I'm so ready for summer, and I'm so ready for it to be nice out and just beautiful. And I know with 4-H and the different things that the Extension Office does, I just love the garden club, the different groups that meet there and participate. The 4-H at the school is just, I think people don't realize how much agriculture we have here in Nelson County, or maybe have an appreciation for it.
Yeah, we definitely do. And one thing that is kind of one of the cornerstones with Nelson County 4-H is summer camp.
It is.
So even though, it's winter and we're starting to think about, what might we do this summer? And for some people, they have to go ahead and put in their vacation times.
They do.
So we do want to get the word out about summer camp, and we even have pre-registration available. These are our pre-registration forms.
Okay.
These will be available at local schools. It's also on our Facebook page. You can like Nelson County Extension to find this, or you can stop by the Nelson County Extension office. It's located at 317 South 3rd Street, which is in the same building as the Civic Center and the Health Department.
And most people know where either one of those things are located.
Close to Foster Heights. So we're open from 8 to 4:30. People are welcome to drop by and get this, or they can even look for our event on Eventbrite, and they can pre-register online. Now, this is just the beginning paperwork. You get a big packet of paperwork, so make sure we know everything about your kid when we take them for the week to camp. But we do camp at Lake Cumberland. This year it's June 17th through 21st.
Okay. And what's the age groups?
So it's for kids that are entering the 4th grade. They're at least 8 years old, entering the 4th grade, through their 14th birthday. Okay. So if they are 15, they can apply to be a CIT, which is a counselor in training.
Oh,
Those are some of our youngest leaders. They have kind of limited responsibilities. They don't have as much supervision responsibility, but while they're at camp, they're learning leadership skills, communication skills, and helping those campers to have a successful week. Our 16 and 17-year-olds are our teen counselors. Now, those CITs and those teen counselors, they do have to do a different application. This year we've changed up the application a little bit. We want to make sure all of our kids are career ready, college and career ready. So we have an application, but we're also asking the kids, we have fewer questions, we're asking them to turn in a resume this year. So as part of their application process, just getting that resume ready. So we'll be accepting those, and then we also take adults if they're 18 and older. They go through the background check process. They have an application to turn in as well. So new this year, our office is kind of shorter staffed. We are down to one 4-H agent instead of 2, and we found in the past few years, we want to fill the camp. We want to take every kid that we can.
Sure. And how many might that be?
So in the past, we've taken over 320 people total.
Oh,
so
my
kids
goodness.
and volunteers.
300, and that's all age groups.
Yeah, and so around 280 campers. But we've found, we're working so hard to take those kids that we're working up until the day of camp or before to get qualified, trained, background checked volunteers.
Yes.
So this year it's going to be a little bit different. We are going to have a nice hard deadline for our volunteers. And however many qualified volunteers that we have accepted that go through that process, that client protection process,
Yeah.
that's how many kids that we're going to take
Okay.
on that hard deadline.
There's a ratio then between the
Yes.
number of volunteers and the number
and the
of
number
children.
of kids.
That kids are
So
able to go. Okay.
this year, that will allow us time to make sure that we have time to put into the programming and the training. We do make sure everybody is trained, but in the past, we're training on Saturdays and Sundays to get everybody caught up. And it's not the best use of our time or resources. So we want to make sure everybody has a good, safe time at camp. And this year, that's going to mean people have to get their stuff in on time to make sure they get their space.
Yeah.
So, register early. Again, they can get this information.
And this is
at our
available
office.
online. I'm sure Gary can get this for us maybe
Yep.
later.
And
So they'll have all the information.
Yep, and again, it's June 17th through the 21st. There are scholarships available. This year the price is $240. The teens go for $120, and the adults go for free. Most of them are taking their vacation time to go with us. So,
And these are the volunteers. Dare I say the name of Bonnie Drake?
yes, Bonnie every year says she's going to retire, but
She keeps telling me that. She keeps saying, I'm going to retire from it. No, I've done it for 40 some years or
Yeah.
something. Having grandchildren, having her own children go through this process, she knows how valuable it is.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you know how valuable a volunteer with that kind of experience and the expertise that
Yeah.
Bonnie has.
sometimes I say institutional knowledge.
Institutional.
And instead of old volunteers, I like to say tenured volunteers.
Experience
and tenured volunteers. But there's so much value to having diverse volunteers.
Sure.
Not just diverse backgrounds, but also, a new volunteer with new, fresh ideas.
Sure.
A volunteer like Bonnie and others that have been going for years that carry on some of those traditions for camp.
Yes.
People that are able to give some uniqueness to our camping group.
Sure.
Because those kids, everybody looks up to somebody differently. And the kids are going to connect with a different teen or an adult. And 4-H is about youth and adult partnerships. So we want to make sure that we have diverse kids for those kids or diverse volunteers for those kids to work with. But that's just one of the things that's coming up. Gosh, we have tons of other things. I'll just highlight a few.
Okay.
Again, if you want more details, you can always call our office. 348-9204.
Okay. We'll repeat that again.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And also, again, on Facebook, and if they have a child that's a 4-H age, so 5 to 8 years old for Clover Buds, that's our non-competitive group,
Okay.
and 9 to 18 for our other 4-Hers. They can actually do an enrollment card, which you can just put member at large on there. That will get them on our newsletter list. It will get them on our email list, and we promote a lot of our programs through that. We also send out newsletters to the schools.
Okay.
But a couple of exciting things coming up. I just finished the flyer today, so that's why I don't have it. I'm getting it proofread, but we're going to be working with KET. They're going to be doing a filmmaking workshop, which Gary, who's behind the camera right now, Gary did a filmmaking workshop for us, I think in like 2016 or even sooner, or longer than that. But KET has a set curriculum that they work with, and they're going to come down in April and do a day-long workshop. The kids are going to learn about filmmaking, scripting, acting, sound, and by the end of the day, their family members are going to come and they're going to have a screening in the big Civic Center.
Oh, that is so exciting. Now, when is this coming up?
It's going to be in April.
In April, okay.
There are 30 spaces
We'll look forward to
available.
that.
Yeah, we have... we're going to open it up to Washington, Marion, and Hardin counties as well.
Okay.
So there's only 30 spaces, and that is geared for 9 to 14-year-olds. The older kids, if they are interested and have experience, may be able to help as volunteers.
How do they get signed up for that?
So again, they'll just call our office,
Okay.
and we can send them the registration information. We have something called a PI form, which is a participant information form, and then it's a $10 fee for that one, which will cover their snacks and some kind of cool swag. I'm not sure what they're going to get yet, but something fun to take home. So that filmmaking workshop's coming up. We have a 4-Her right now. She's on the State Performing Arts Troupe, and she's going to set up a series of arts workshops.
Okay.
And in, I think it is April, we're going to do a gallery night for our 4-H kids who are in the art project, for our kids that are in the photography project, and then for the winners of our written communications contest and poetry contest and poster contest, we're going to display all those at the Extension office.
That'll be right at the Extension office then.
Yep, and at the
the
Civic
classes
Center.
as well?
Yes, ma'am.
And then when you do the displays and everything, that will be at Extension?
Yeah, and what's super exciting too is we're actually going to have some of the photography work for sale because our kids have some tremendous work.
Oh, I
and
know.
It's going to
They
be
do.
It's going to
They
be an
do.
extended living gallery at the Extension office on our walls, and we'll kind of rotate out some of the work from our kids. So we're excited to roll that out. We're going to have some sewing workshops coming up. We are going to have scrapbooking workshops coming up.
Oh my gosh.
So there's just so much, and I'd love to give you all the details, but it's a little overwhelming. The best way is to get on that newsletter mailing list and that Facebook
I'm
group.
going to have to do that because a few of the things that you have mentioned, I guess when I think of 4-H, I think of youth. I really think of the younger kids and, you know, the children in school, and those are the participants. But you kind of spread that out over a lot of different areas that they can get into.
Yeah, we have a core content that we work with. So one thing that's unique about 4-H is 4-H is a youth development organization. What kind of sets it apart from some of the other organizations is its research base.
Okay.
So 4-H in Kentucky is through the land grants, the University of Kentucky and Kentucky State University.
I knew you were affiliated with the University of Kentucky.
And so we have a core curriculum that we work from that's research-based, that's been piloted, that's been proven to be effective. And those are some of the resources that our volunteers pull from.
Oh, wow.
But what's also unique is very place-based. So, you know, we look at the needs for our community. We operate off of a plan of work for our county. And we kind of take those resources, add to it, and just make really good, strong programs. At the national level, 4-H is supported as well, and we have national mandates from the USDA, and the national mandates include health, science, and leadership. So with that,
All
you know,
very important.
yeah,
Very
and we
important
do
things.
a lot of education, but we do things like family and consumer science. We do, you know, healthy living, cooking, things. We have science, engineering, and technology, performing arts, written communication, and so.
And sometimes those things are overlooked,
Yeah.
Especially with the younger kids. There's so many things that they can do and learn at home or through an agency, and just learn to cook their, you know, own lunch or, you know, a meal or something. I know a lot of kids are really getting into it, and I know my niece absolutely loves it, and a couple of my granddaughters, I got them little aprons for Christmas one year because they just love it. And once there's something about preparing a meal that is really special, and especially when you're making it for your family, or, you know, going to share it with someone that you love. It's very giving from the inside too. It makes you feel really good.
Yeah, our teens, we have a teen council, and 4-H programs in Nelson County are open to youth who live in Nelson County or go to school in Nelson County.
Okay.
Our teen program, we have a teen council. They do a lot of leadership, and this year they elected to do Adulting 101. So they've been doing things like learning about resumes, learning about cooking, and that's been a really neat group. And then when we think about traditional 4-H, a lot of times we do think about the agriculture. It's a strong component. And next Tuesday, so January 29th.
It is.
We have kind of an all-species meeting, and anybody that's interested in 4-H animal science projects.
Okay.
So if you're interested in the horse club, and these are clubs that we have: horse club, dairy, beef,
Okay.
poultry, rabbit, and we have a ham club as well. Now, our ham club, they had to have registered already, but the other clubs are still accepting new members.
Now, how does
and a
that
goat
work?
club too.
In a what club?
A goat club.
A goat club. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So how does that work with the fair, with the Nelson County Fair, and with the, you know, the Louisville Fair?
So with our animal science projects, a little bit of background on it. When kids are interested in animals, they can do the 4-H projects without actually having the animal, which is really nice.
Oh, that is nice.
Kids can join a club and learn about the animals, and they have things like Horse Bowl, which is kind of like Horse Jeopardy. So they learn about knowledge.
I'd love to see that.
Or
I'd love
even
to see
like
that.
dairy judging, where they're looking at 5 different dairy cows and looking at breed standards and trying to determine which one's the best. So you don't have to own the animals. So if you live in the city limits and you can't own one, you
Okay.
can still participate in the clubs. And our horse club is actually a horseless horse club. So
Okay.
it's not focused on the riding, it's focused on learning everything you can possibly learn about horses. Now, for the kids that do have animals outside of that horse club, they do have opportunities to show. And with animals, a lot of times it's maybe you just have something as a pet, or you have something as a breeding stock. So you
Okay.
are keeping that animal, you want to keep those genetics, you want to make more of those animals to sell. Or you might have show animals where that's a particular animal that you're just keeping for that show season to show. Or maybe you have a market animal, which the end game for that is to go to market, to help feed our families.
But I think they understand that really at a very young age.
They do.
Or want to understand it or need to understand it. Because I think the more that they do know about it, the more appreciative they will be of their family and of the farmers and the agriculture that we have here in Nelson County. Because
Definitely.
it is a huge part of our culture that not everyone has an appreciation for.
And one thing that we're doing at that all species meeting on Tuesday
Okay.
is we are looking at some of the rules for the clubs. When do you own your animal by? What age does your animal have to be?
Okay.
But what we're looking at is some of the things that are across the board. What's ethical in treating these animals? When you go to a show, if you see somebody doing something to an animal and it maybe they're painting its hoof. We paint our fingernails. Is that giving that animal an unfair advantage? Are you hiding a defect? Not necessarily. You're shining up its hoofs like it's going to have nice, pretty hoofs. But did that animal have ringworm and they're painting over it so you can't see it?
Oh my.
Is that an ethical thing?
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of look at how we're treating the animals. Is it a way an animal should be treated? Is it creating an unfair advantage? And a lot of times our kids that are new to showing, they don't understand what they've seen. They're like, what is that person doing? Why are they doing that? So this will give them an opportunity to know kind of what's right and wrong within that and to talk a little bit about livestock ethics. But then also we're going to talk a little bit about biosecurity. When we think about biosecurity, we think about the safety of our food system for sure.
Right.
None of
That's
us ate
usually the
romaine
priority.
lettuce.
Yeah.
None of us ate romaine lettuce for a long time. You go to get a salad and they're like, is it okay if I don't have romaine? It is very okay right now if you do not have romaine. But even what you wear to your barn, if your boots have been to somebody else's barn the day before, to even think about those things of keeping your animals safe. So we're going to talk about that. But in 4-H, we have learning by doing. So we're going to play games, we're going to have fun, all to get some of those concepts across. And then we'll learn about some of the state events and stuff. So if anybody and their kids are interested in, again, horse, dairy, beef, goat, rabbits, poultry, they can come to that meeting and learn a little bit
So
more
that's
about it.
next Tuesday then at the Extension office?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
What was
those
the time?
individual clubs have additional meetings as well. It's
Okay.
either at 6 or 6:30. I'll
Okay.
post it on our Facebook page.
Okay, and another good reason to sign up for that newsletter because then you'd get a heads up beforehand, so
Yeah.
you could do that.
For sure. And when they fill out the enrollment card, they check the things that they're interested in. And let's say they checked dairy. Anytime we have something coming up about dairy, we'll mail it to the people that checked an interest in that. So we also have really targeted marketing as well.
Then you also have a lot of farmers in our area that participate. I know when there's different things going on that they'll invite the children to their farms, participate with them. I know Adam Wheatley was just incredible to us. With
We're really
youth.
lucky in Nelson
We
County.
are.
Our farmers open up their homes to us. I've been to Adam's group or Adam's house with groups, and he and Sarah welcome you into the house and make you feel at home. And the closer you are to agriculture, the more you understand the work that goes into it.
Okay, and just how difficult some of the things are.
Yeah, and like you were talking about a minute ago, some of the kids, they do have show animals. So
Right.
they can go to the Nelson County Fair and show.
Okay.
They can show at the state fair. And a lot of our kids even travel to other counties. Some kids are going to shows like once a week, taking their animals to shows.
I did not realize that.
Yep.
Wow.
And livestock showing is an investment in youth. You definitely have to invest in the project. So
You do.
you have to buy an animal that's healthy. You have to feed it. You have to care for it. And that is where the kid is learning. They're learning
Yes.
commitment. They're learning care. They're learning record keeping. You know, how much feed did I give this animal to get this animal to this weight? You know, they're learning about safe environments for the animal. And all of that culminates when they walk with that animal into the show ring.
Sure.
Is that animal healthy?
Sure.
Is that animal showing to the best of its ability? In showmanship classes, they're not even looking
They even
at...
do that.
Yeah, they're not even necessarily... They're looking at how the animal behaves, but they're looking at how the exhibitor is handling their animal and the knowledge. The judge will go ask them, you know, what's your cow's name? What's its birthday? What did you feed it? How did you get it to gain weight? Do you have any issues with it that, you know, if you could correct it, what would it be? And then you have the classes where they're just judging the animals. So, and those kids, they get premiums or they get ribbons. The premiums, like $10, $15. So, yeah,
But
sometimes...
still, it's the idea, I think, of them accomplishing. You know, they've taken the time and the effort and put into the animal, and then learned so much from that. And then this is the reward in the end. And it's
Yep.
kind of nice to see that in the future. I know a lot of kids are just not athletic. It's not their thing. That's not what they want to do. They don't want to play football, baseball, whatever. And so the animals give them a whole nother culture to become very, very good at. And then they might want to be a veterinarian eventually. I know I have a little granddaughter that already has her white coat. She's ready. She's 13. So she's ready. But it's, you know, just over the years, the different things that they can have appreciation for.
Yeah, and 4-H, what I really like is you can build on stuff. So, you know, you can start out small and each year do something different. And you don't have to be competitive.
You don't have to live on a farm.
Yeah, you don't have to live on a
Okay.
farm. You don't have to be competitive. You can do non-competitive things. You can be competitive with yourself. You know, I did this year. Or, you know, if you're competitive, there are options for that as well. And we even have leadership programs. So there's just about anything that you can think of available to 4-Hers.
Okay.
One thing that I do ask is that the community really appreciate the volunteers because our extension staff is very small and our volunteers do the majority of the work. You know, they
So
work with
are
the
you
kids.
still looking for volunteers then?
Yes, we
to
are
help
still
with the
accepting
camp?
applications.
Absolutely, and that's
For sure.
not until June 17th through the 21st.
Yep, and I can't remember the deadline for the adults, but it's April 12th is
April
when
12th,
this
okay.
paperwork has to be in.
Okay.
So teens and adults, remember to get your applications in early because that's what we're going to base our cabin capacities on this year. And campers, make sure you get your stuff in as well so you don't get put on a wait list. So we want to make sure we take as many folks as we can, but also have time to prepare for those great events at camp. Camp is undergoing some renovations. They're getting some new bathrooms in the cabin. So if you've been to camp before, they're doing a lot of really exciting things.
And this is Lake Somerset?
It's in Nancy, Kentucky, so it's about 27 minutes from Somerset, but it's right on Lake Cumberland. It's 1,500 acres. It's
Oh
a
my goodness.
gorgeous facility.
I actually have seen the camp, but only from, you know, from the lake.
Yeah.
But it looks like a wonderful facility.
Yeah, it is. It's a great facility. So again, if you guys are interested in anything 4-H based, you can check us out on Facebook, and that's under Nelson County Extension. You can, for 4-H Camp, look on Eventbrite for Nelson County 4-H Camp, June 17th through the 21st. And then you can also stop by our office, 317 South 3rd Street, or give us a call and we can mail you some information as well. And that number is 348-9204.
That sounds excellent, Danielle. Can you think of anything else that our folks might be interested in finding out about 4-H? It sounds like you shared a lot of information today, and you have a lot of wonderful things coming up and a lot of opportunity, you know, for our young people and for volunteers as well. I just think a lot of those things sound very interesting to me anyway.
Yeah, and if you are interested in volunteering in 4-H, there are things that you can do where, you know, there's some volunteers that don't necessarily, it's not their thing to work directly with kids. We utilize judges all the time. We need judges for our poster contests. We need just judges for our communications contest. We need judges for county fair. So if there is a skill or talent that you have and you really want to volunteer, just call our office. And even if you just, I like to say it's quiet time for my mind, but sometimes there's some volunteer work where you're just folding papers, but it's needed and necessary. So even
Absolutely.
volunteers in our office. So, and for our youth volunteers who need service hours, that's a great way. But
So they can earn service hours too.
yeah, so if
Okay.
they just give us a heads up, we can always put together a project for them to work on after school or something like that.
Okay, well, that sounds excellent. I know you do have a lot of young people usually looking for service hours to complete their resume.
For sure.
And if they're working on that resume, they want it to look as good as possible.
Definitely.
And so we're looking forward to a very exciting year, and appreciate you so much sharing all that with Channel 6 today.
Thank you.